All right, update today from the Kissimmee Police Department. We're going to go through those details quickly here. This is a breaking situation, getting ready for the show tonight at 8. So I got to hop on, hop off, hop on, hop off. But I wanted to jump in just to give you an idea of what Kissimmee Police said today, but more importantly, what it means. What it means. All right, there's more between the lines than in the lines today in what Kissimmee Police were saying. The chief spoke today, giving an update on the case. Now, you have to understand for the KPD, it's a smaller outfit. They're not used to necessarily all this attention from all this media from around the country. Okay? Kissimmee, relatively small but efficient department. I think they're very capable in what they're doing and how they're handling all this. But this is a big, big case, and the pressure is on. So I think the chief was feeling that. So the chief, she came out and spoke today about the case. And I think that's good to keep those lines of communication open. But here's the first thing, my first takeaway from the update from the Kissimmee Police Department, which I think is significant, especially here in the world of true crime, how they found her. It was clear, right? We knew this, but it was reiterated and made extremely clear today that it was a tip. It was a tip that led to investigators finding Madeline on Hickory Tree Road. Okay? Like we've been saying, it's 22 miles from where she lives. So if you're just searching for a child, it's not necessarily a place you would look. And it wasn't getting cell phone data off of pings, etc. No. It was a human being who gave a tip. Why is that important? Why is that important? Because in cases like this, and unfortunately, every case doesn't get the attention that this particular case is getting right now. But cases that get attention get more results. Period. They just do, because of the awareness, right? Unfortunately, there's missing people, missing children, missing adults, missing parents, and some of them don't get the attention that Madeline got in this case. And as a result, the public doesn't necessarily know. And members of the public might have information that is significant, but they don't think it's significant because, number one, they may not know the story. They may not know the case. And they may not know where to go with the information, and have no idea that what they have is significant and important. I mean, same thing happened with Gabby Petito. Became such a huge case. And then there were some people who were just YouTubers that were recording one of their videos, and they had information that was very helpful. Video that was extremely helpful in the case. So this happens all the time in these cases. So that's why I hate when law enforcement and prosecutors and people say, the YouTubers, the true crime community, the media, the news, they take a case like this and they make a mess of it. No, what they do is raise awareness. As long as people are talking about it, people are talking about it. And as long as people are talking about it, people are hearing about it. And when people are hearing about it, they will be able to provide information if they have it. And they may not even know that what they know is important or related to a missing person or a murder investigation. And in this case, it was high profile, and it was a tip. Someone who saw Stephen Stearns changing that tire. That's what led them to that area. That's how they got there. That's why they were there. That's why they found her. And that's why they'll have more evidence than they would have otherwise. Without all the publicity and the public providing the information here, she could still be missing. She could still be missing tonight. But she's not. And thank goodness she isn't. Just hit 1,000. This is not going to be a super long one here, folks. I'm getting into some of the and what I'm doing is hitting some of the big points that were made by the Kissimmee Police Department in the update today. But where I'm going is between the lines. Because if you just read the lines today, you'd say like, oh, well, nothing really happened. No. Things happened today in this update. And that's where I wanted to begin, because it's the significance and importance of what happens on social media, what happens on television, what happens in the local news, what's happening on websites, what's happening on YouTube channels, Facebook, wherever it is. Wherever people are talking about this case, that means people are hearing about it. And when people hear about it, someone who saw a guy changing a tire is like, wait a minute. I think I saw that guy. I think I saw that car. I saw that car and he was changing a tire over in St. Cloud. This case is from Kissimmee, but he was over in St. Cloud changing a tire. And I think I remember where it was. There was this cargo, this cargo unit was there, and there was like a little roundabout turnaround area. And that's where he's changing, right across the street. That's where she was found. And the only reason they were there was because of the tip from the public. So great work. Great work by the public. Great work by everyone keeping this story alive. So that's how she was found. And that was really confirmed for me today by the chief of the Kissimmee Police Department. Something else I noticed, the language she was using. She was very specific. Now, talked about Stephen Stearns, right? She acknowledged that he had a lawyer, so he's not cooperating here in this investigation. But she kept using the term those responsible. And I understand it's just a word. But she's not saying the person responsible. She's saying those responsible. So it's not necessarily definitively a presumption that more than one person is responsible for what happened here to Madeline. But it's a very loud signal that they are considering more than Stephen Stearns. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Not that it's been proven, not that 2 people are going to be charged or 3 people are going to be charged. No. That's not what it is. What it is, though, is that it gives us the status of the investigation. If she's still saying those responsible, that leaves open the possibility in her mind as the chief of this Kissimmee Police Department that this may result in more than one person being charged. Okay? I think that's important, right? Because the chief wasn't going to spill much today because there's not an arrest yet. Doesn't want to tip anyone off. But by saying that, it gives us an idea of where the investigation is. They're still at the point now where obviously he's a suspect for obvious reasons. His phone, last person with her, everything, right? Lies about her going to school. But beyond that, beyond just the obvious, you've got an idea that in this case, it's a given that there's one, but there's still a possibility there's more. Like that part of the investigation is not over. Still working on a timeline. And, pieces of the timeline come from a digital footprint, can come from surveillance video, but other pieces of the timeline are going to come from witnesses and people, which could be those responsible. She also said something that we know about in all these investigations, that you begin with the people closest to the victim. And she said today, everyone, I am presuming that anyone connected to her is potentially involved in this. And they're potentially involved until they are cleared. Mom has not been cleared. She didn't say that, but she didn't have to say that. She was asked questions about mom, and then she came back to all the people closest to her, to the deceased, Madeline, are presumed to be involved, or we will work under the assumption they're involved until they are cleared. Mom's not cleared. This investigation is continuing. They're working. Yeah, the dog wants me. Mom's upstairs. Don't worry about it. So there you have it. I mean, to me, that was one of the big items I was reading between the lines today. Those responsible. As I mentioned, she did indicate Stephen Stearns has a lawyer. We knew that once you get charged, you're going to be assigned an attorney, but he's not talking. But she did say mom cooperated, gave a statement, and she's getting cooperation from everyone, which would be, when you talk about everyone, who would that be? That would be people at the birthday party, the family. So it seems that they are cooperating, right? Now, I've seen cases where people who were cooperating end up getting charged. So they're not mutually exclusive. It's not like, oh, I cooperate and then I don't get charged. No, like all types of people can cooperate. In the Alec Baldwin shooting case, Dave Halls cooperated from the beginning. He was charged. He continued to cooperate and pleaded guilty. So the second or maybe third, am I on the third, second or third big headline? They, meaning KPD, Kissimmee Police and their detectives, still waiting for the ME's report. That report's not done yet. So the questions have been, is the report done and we're just not going to see it? She answered half that question. And the half that she answered was, they haven't even seen it yet. So that means no cause, no manner of death. Now, there can be conversations back and forth, but she seemed to indicate we use that report. That's what we use. So even if they have the conversations, a little heads up about what the ME found, she is going to wait for that report. And that's not done yet. What else from today? And they're still following up on leads. And when I say leads, it's information that can lead to something helpful is the way I interpret it. Because I mean, they know who could potentially be. It's not like they're looking for some mystery person now. I think anyone and everyone who could possibly be involved in what happened to her, I think has been identified at this point. She was asked more questions than answers still. And she says, our questions are being answered. They're making progress. They're not stalled. They haven't hit any bumps in the road. It's plowing along. And she said what I've been saying all along, which is there's no rush here. He's locked up with no bond. 60 charges that if he's found guilty of them, he's gone forever anyway. So because he's locked up, she is not concerned about the timeline, the time frame of wrapping up this investigation. Now, they're working with the medical examiner, but also working with the state attorney's office. State attorney's office obviously has the lawyers who will prosecute the case, but most state attorney's offices have their own investigators as well who help put the case together. And if you're Kissimmee PD and you have a case of this magnitude, with this many eyes on it, that's potential for the ultimate punishment. You're going to want everything lined up beautifully. So they're working closely with the state attorney in the 9th district down there and working with the ME's office, but still waiting for that report. So the medical examiner in no rush here. Toxicology might be a big deal here, right? Toxicology could be a big deal here because it could impact, and we don't know what's been found so far, it could impact cause, manner of death, time of death. So still a lot to happen here. Still a lot to happen in this case. Happy Gnosis, video in the house. All right. Thank you, Happy Gnosis. Yes, we are here. This is going to be a short one tonight, though. I went like an hour, almost an hour and a half last time. Because of the time of day I started. I would love to do these earlier in the day, but today I had to wait till 2:00 for the big news to happen, and from that point forward, I got to put things together for the show tonight. I get a quick break here, and then I got to do the final preparation for the show tonight. But 8 o'clock will be on this story, so get ready. Fasten your seatbelts for tonight. True Crime with Stephanie Michelle. Hi, Vinny. Thanks for your coverage of the case. I hope to see you at crime. Yeah, you will see me, Stephanie. You will see me. I'll be there Friday. We're going to attempt to do my show live from CrimeCon. So I think with the local time in Nashville, it'll probably be at 7 o'clock, even though I'm on 8 o'clock Eastern. I think there's a 1 hour difference. So my show would be 7 o'clock, and you still have to get, permission and a place to do it, etc. But hopefully I'll be doing my show from there Friday night, and then hanging out with everybody on Saturday as well. Good stuff. Good stuff. So thank you, Stephanie. True Crime with Stephanie Michelle. Who else do we have here? Maddie. Why didn't they check Jen for it? They probably did. They probably did. The reason you have to check his phone first is he's the last one with her. But if you're investigating everyone who has contact with her, you'll ask for all the phones. Now, sometimes people hand them over voluntarily, like Stephen Stearns did, right? So, but he thought he had the factory reset, so he thought he beat the system, but he didn't. But people can refuse, and if people refuse to hand it over voluntarily, then you have to get a warrant from a judge because it's a search and a seizure. So you don't want to do it. You can't do it unlawfully, because then anything you find during that search and seizure is inadmissible against the person. Daily devotions with Tony Girl. Can you possibly address what the sheriff may have meant when he said it was isolated to the house? All right. So it's not the sheriff in this case. This is the police chief. And most cases, it's interesting because a lot of the cases down in Florida are investigated by the sheriff's department, and the Osceola sheriff and the Orange County sheriff both were part of the initial investigation, but now it's been taken over by Kissimmee police, and Kissimmee is the city of Kissimmee. So that was the chief. And this was another good point. I'm glad you brought it up, because I did write that down here on my little note here. I can even show it to you. I forgot to say that. You said isolated to the home, and that was in reaction to a question about, do we think there's other victims out there, right? Is he a serial offender, whether it's a serial killer, a serial molester, a serial abuser? And they have no evidence of that, have not found any evidence of that. And obviously places they would look would be on the phone, right? Is this the only child on the phone? Are there other children? If there are, then boom, this is a whole different investigation. But she did say it's isolated to the home, to what happened in the home. So I believe what they mean there is that Maddie is the victim, and there's no evidence right now that Stephen Stearns was allegedly abusing anyone else, any other children anywhere. Although we've all seen the video of him working at Disney. So, got to keep an eye on everything. Thank you, Edie. Appreciate it. Edie's got 3 first names: Edie, Diane, and Henry. 3 first names. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So again, I'm getting ready for the big show tonight, 8 o'clock on Court TV. And you got to check in. Have you eaten? Yes, I did eat. That's what also I did. I ate. Then I knew the 2 o'clock was coming up. Then I had some big meetings. And there you go. So full justice. Full justice. Get the eyes back from the screen. Back here. I'm just here because I'm reading the comments on the computer. I'll have to move the camera back. I can't move myself back because I'm just going to be up here. Sorry. All right. Mina K. TBP. Who's that? TBP. Greg Hartley, I know very well. I had him on my show years ago, probably back in like 2010, 2011. So I've known him for a long time. Bumped into him at CrimeCon. I think I may have bumped into him at Dr. Phil also, an episode of Dr. Phil that we both did. He's a great guy. Yeah, the other one, I know he works with that other group, but I haven't really worked with any of them. But I did meet them, whoever was at Crime Con. But Greg Hartley for sure was been on my show for sure. Thank you, Mina K. So the big headline again, KPD with the big update, and my takeaway is mom's not in the clear. The investigation is continuing. The ME report's not back, but she keeps talking about continuing to gather evidence concerning those responsible, meaning they have not closed the door that it's Stephen Stearns alone by himself. They are still investigating whether or not anyone else is involved, which means mom is not in the clear tonight. Although she did say that she cooperated, as did every member of the family, which is extremely, extremely important. 2010 was like yesterday. Yeah, it did feel like yesterday, 2010. 2010 is when 2010. Hey, Emily. Yep. We met at Crime Con down there in Orlando, Central Florida, ironically, right? Will they take to a grand jury before charging for murder? So it can work two ways. The fact that the state attorney's office is involved, the lawyers, they could present it to a grand jury, or they could just file charges and then get an indictment. It can be done either way. It can be done either way at this point. He's in custody, so there's no. You don't have to be secretive about it. You don't have to try to catch him so you can arrest him, right? So you can be much more open about it. That old, oh yeah, tea trees. I put that was at a trial, I think in South Carolina. That picture was taken. It was either South Carolina or North Carolina. I'm trying to remember no. That was the case of Rabbi Newlander. I was in New Jersey. There's a picture I posted on Facebook of me reading the paper about the case I was covering, the trial of Rabbi Newlander. And I put it up there just as sort of a throwback deal. I have a lot of old material that I'm going to start posting because it's like now it's old, right? It still seems like yesterday, but it is some old stuff. Oh, yes, Marine, will be the last. Absolutely will be the last, unless there is a motion to suppress the evidence and the evidence on the phone is not permitted to be used. But I believe they got it voluntarily. So if they got it voluntarily, there should be no problem with that coming into evidence. Everything that's on the phone, that's going to put them away forever, Maureen, because that case is indefensible. I mean, there will be a defense, but it's indefensible. The only way you could potentially win that case is if you get evidence thrown out, because that evidence is just too strong. All right. It's a good question from Mike Breeze. When do you sleep? Great question, Mike. Appreciate it. Right, because my show's on at night. I'm on in here during the day. But I sleep well. I sleep well. And I used to have the morning show on Sirius XM radio, and I used to have to wake up at like 3:30 in the morning to get to New York to do it. There were times when I was doing television early in the morning, but now, since I do television at night, when I go to sleep after the show, anywhere between midnight, 1 o'clock, 1:30, depending upon how hyped I am, right? Once I fall asleep, I sleep until I wake up. I don't set an alarm. So I think I get enough rest every night because I get up when I'm done sleeping. You follow me? Like everyone wakes up when they're done sleeping, sort of, but I do it like naturally. There's no alarm. I had that alarm going off at 3:30 in the morning for, I don't know, probably like 8 years of my professional life in broadcasting, and not going to do it again. I sleep until I wake up. Boom, done. All right. All right, blue. Let me see. Blue. I'm going to try to read this. Blue half of Glasgow 55. Are you still on Court TV? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been on Court TV longer than anyone's been on Court TV. I've done more years on Court TV than anyone in the history of the network. You can go back to the old days, all those anchors. I've done more time than all of them. I think it's 19 years now, something like that. But yeah, Court TV relaunched with new ownership in 2019, and since then I've been on. Just to answer, and I'll be on tonight at 8:00, which is why I have to go in a couple minutes here. Here we go. What case sticks with you the most? The one from Central Florida. Kelly Marie Anthony did not get justice. There was no justice for Kelly Marie. I to this day, like if I was on the jury, I know what my verdict would be based upon the evidence that I saw in the trial. I saw the bones of her head. I saw the way the duct tape went over her nose and mouth. That was still, her hair was still stuck to the duct tape. I know where she was discarded, and I know about the 11 people who smelled what they smelled coming from the trunk of her car. I know about all the lies. I know how the defense was investigating the boyfriend, the ex-fiance, the meter reader, and then settled on George Anthony. I know all that, and it sticks with me because ultimately the job of our system of justice is justice, which is the truth, and for the truth to come out in the courtroom. And I thought the truth did come out. But if the jury doesn't agree and they agree otherwise, then we're ground zero. Case is not going to be reinvestigated. Nothing's going to be done. So there will never, ever be justice for Kelly Marie. So that's the one that sticks with me. Absolutely, Louise. Absolutely. That's the way to do it. All right. Tiny T, anything new? Yes. KPD today. Update. The investigation is continuing. Those responsible. So they're still looking at more than just the prime suspect in this case, Stephen Stearns. They're looking at everybody else, and mom has not been cleared yet. And they do not believe there are any other victims of Stephen Stearns out there that they have evidence of. There's no evidence of it, so they're not investigating any other cases related to Stephen Stearns. So we've got all that going on. Let's see. Here's a question. Was Don Lemon with you years ago? Don Lemon worked at CNN while I was working at HLN. So I'm trying to think if I ever was on a show with him. No. People I worked with at HLN on my actual show, Ryan Smith, who was a great attorney. He worked with Court TV and he worked with me at HLN. He's with ESPN and ABC News now. Who else have I worked with? I worked with Kimberly Guilfoyle. She was my co-anchor. Lisa Bloom was my co-anchor at Court TV. So those are people I worked like on the show with. But at the network, I worked with Nancy Grace. She was on HLN when I was on HLN. She was on Court TV when I was on Court TV. Catherine Cryer, Fred Graham, Jack Ford, Ashley Banfield. Worked with a lot of folks through the years. And I've appeared on a lot of shows as well. I used to go on Geraldo's show a lot as well. All right. Let's see if there's any more questions. All right. Where did Chanley go? Chanley's at Fox News. I think her first time on the air was today. I think today was her first day on the air there. Yes, Ashley Banfield. Yep. All right. So this is what we're going to do. Great to see you, Kamigakushi. Is that it? Kamigakushi. Palm Beach, Florida is beautiful, beautiful. Love it there. Hey, if you're in Palm Beach, Florida, you got to do brunch on Sunday at the Breakers. There are brunches, but this is next level stuff. This is bucket list brunch. If you're in Palm Beach, Florida, or anywhere close by on a Sunday, make the reservation, go to the Breakers for the absolutely best brunch ever. Ever. Trust me. All right. Wait a minute. We got another DJ here. I don't know if those of you know my background. I'm a DJ too. I used to be in the music business too. We had a dance record label. So DJ Soft Cherry, great to see you. They're on the turntables. Beautiful. Do the run check on Man's laptop, see if it pinged near well, that's interesting, right? Because the laptop's found in the dumpster. Okay, the laptop is found in the dumpster. So 7:35 is when he's putting it in the dumpster. I don't think he's anywhere near St. Cloud where she's found. So I don't think there's a connection between the laptop and her body. I think the only potential pings you'd get would be from his phone if he had it and it was on. Right? They'll be able to check afterwards to see if it's pinging, trying to locate where his route, where he went, in addition to the tons of cameras that are down in Central Florida. But yeah, I don't think the GPS from the laptop is going to reveal much, because we believe the laptop was tossed at 7:35 and her body was seen in the car at 8:19. So I don't think there's going to be a connection there. I'm originally from New Jersey, exit 145 or exit 15W. Remember, if you're from Jersey and you check in, you need to tell me the exit. Always, always. Thank you, Danielle. Appreciate it. All right. It's 5:45. Hey, this wasn't bad. We're only on a few minutes. We got like 2,600 live viewers. That's nice. Appreciate your time. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you watching. Please smash the like button a couple times for me, and make sure if you're on Facebook that you share it. That's it. That's it for now. Got to save the voice. I got 2 hours of live television coming up tonight, 8 o'clock on Court TV. If you don't know where Court TV is, go to courttv.com. And there's a little tab that says where to find us. And you put in your zip code and you figure out how you can get Court TV where you live. 8 o'clock tonight. That's Eastern time. So I got to run now. But again, thank you for the great comments. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Again, I'll leave you with the headline, KPD. This investigation is ongoing and mom has not been cleared. I'll see you at 8. And as always, please don't forget to hug the kids.